Can you tell me which page we are? Hello.
Good morning, Rinpoche.
Morning.
Jiang, do you remember which page? I know the last one we were talking about emulating the teacher's realization, page
Right.
9.
Yeah, I remembered that too. Just want to jump into the right page. That's why. Yeah.
Oh, page 200.
So you said you have a question from the last week, right, Yen?
Yes, we have 2 questions from last week.
Okay, so we will start with the questions then.
Okay, let me also post this on the chat so you can read it. And
Sure.
and I read it. So that's one question, and then there's another.
Oh, okay. I got the page. Yeah.
So there are 2 questions. The first question, Rinpoche, could the negative view of the Buddha's cousin is the result of previous lives' karmic connection, and is it not just the ordinary disrespect for the Buddha? Thank you, Rinpoche.
So that's a very good question. Very good question. So the question is whether the negative deeds committed by Buddha's cousin came not from his own will, but rather from the karmic load from previous lives, right? Or is it just his own that he made it in his own life? So the thing is, it's actually both. It's actually both. But to go into it much deeper, I would like to remind you remind you of the process of how karma works. Remember, we talk about in the previous chapter. We talk about the functions of the karma, functions of action. So there we talk about the action, the cause, which is the action or karma, resulting as an effect. So there are 2 ways of evolving into the effect. One is the effect similar to the cause in action, and the other is the effect similar to the cause in experience, right? So if you remember, I said if you kill somebody, if you shorten somebody's life, your life will also be shortened as the experiential effect. The effect that is similar to the cause in experience would be that your life will be shortened. And the second thing is the effect similar to the cause in action. So because you killed somebody, you take someone's life in your previous life, you still have the urge, the excitement to take someone's life in this life as well. So that is the effect similar to the cause in action, right? Effect similar to the cause in experience, meaning you lose your life. Effect similar to the cause in action, meaning you want to take more life. So from this perspective, so once you understand this core teaching, core principle of the functions of karma, the functions of action, then you will understand that that Buddha's cousins, whether it is Sunakashatra or Devadatta, so the misdeeds, the negative actions that they committed towards the Buddha are twofold, are a result of two different causes, or it can be one cause manifesting in two different effects, two different results. So the in one way, they want to kill the Buddha, they want to get rid of the Buddha, they want to, become better than the Buddha by actually kicking out Buddha. And at the same time, they are also experiencing very negative. They're not only committing negative deeds, they're also experiencing negative deeds. So the reason that they are committing those negative deeds are one, because of their own negative actions in the previous lives, where they committed negative actions towards other holy beings, and because of that, they still have the urge to commit negative deeds towards holy beings such as the Buddha. And at the same time, they're experiencing a lot of the reason that they're also they're not just doing it for fun. They're also experiencing a lot of you can call it depression even, right? They're experiencing a lot of pain to see the Buddha prosper. So when the Buddha is being followed by so many people, when the kings and all the great men and women support and bow down to the Buddha, they are so unhappy. They don't want to see the Buddha become great. So that is a great pain in them. So they are experiencing great pain within themselves, as well as they are committing negative actions towards the Buddha due to their negative karmas in the past life. So to summarize, I said that last time as well. So the experience, negative experience, right? The effect that is similar to the cause and experience, that you cannot change once the karma has been materialized or matured. But the negative cause, the negative effect that is similar to the cause in action, such as wanting to kill other people, wanting to harm holy beings, that effect actually can be manipulated. That action actually, that karmic deed, that karmic effect can actually be transformed. So in summary, Devadatta and Sunakashatra, they have the ability, or they have the options, they have the choice to opt out of harming the Buddha. They could have chosen not to harm the Buddha if they wish, but they chose not to do that. They ignored, they give to their habitual tendencies, and then they gave in to their habitual tendencies, and then they start harming the Buddha, and because of that, they were experiencing more pain and more suffering.
Thanks, Adhung. Second question, Rinpoche. Rinpoche, how do we know we have a positive connection with a teacher? Thank you, Rinpoche.
Oh, yeah. So another very good question. So usually any person that you have a strong karmic connection, whether it's a positive karmic connection or negative karmic connection, you will actually feel it. That's for sure. So the first thing with these connections, whether spiritual connection or non-spiritual connection, you can actually feel it. So there is so some of the signs I will tell you. Okay. For example, if it's a negative, some people we have never met before. We just see them once, and then we don't like the look of that person. We really don't want to be near that person. Some people we find very annoying and very frustrating for no reason at all, even when we have not interacted with them. So we see a lot of people like that. So these are people that have been our enemies or people who we have fought with, argued with, and so on and so forth in the past. Similarly, with people whom we have a very good relationship in our previous lives, we don't know those personally. We may not even have met these people before, but the moment we see these people, we have a very strong connection towards. We feel a very strong connection towards them. Sometimes, whether in a, for example, in a couple, you feel attraction towards each other and so on and so forth. So people who feel attraction towards each other, usually they have karmic connections in their previous lives as brothers, as friends, and so on and so forth. So similarly with a guru, you will have a so this will not be an attraction in the sense of a couple being attracted towards each other. It will be much similar to the love and kind of connection that you feel towards your parents. If you have a very loving mother or a loving father, and when somebody mentions the name of your parents, when you see the image of your loving parents, then you have some sort of a very strong affinity towards these people. So similarly, you will feel that with your guru teacher. So some of the things that you will feel that are outlined in the sutra is that when you see your guru, when you hear your guru, you will start to shiver, right? The hairs will start raising. Not necessarily, but in general, these can be the. It's not necessary that just because you see your teacher, you will have your hair raises, but it's quite common to have your hair raised and to feel some sort of a shiver running through your spine when you hear your shivering, in the sense of not in the sense of fear or things like that, but in the sense of somewhat shaking you, somewhat moving you. So whenever your teacher's name is mentioned, whenever you see the image of your teacher, you start to cry for no reason. You're not sad or anything. You just your eyes just well up. You started to feel shivering, hair starts raising, and whenever the image pops up or the name pops up, you started to feel compassion, right? For example, you are in a very angry mood, you were actually arguing with somebody or something like that, and then on the television you see your guru, and then immediately you start calming down. So in general, these are the signs that that person can have. You can take those signs to be that person has a karmic connection to be your teacher. And I said many times that when you are with that person, the person who's going to be your teacher or your teacher does not necessarily have to be very knowledgeable. Doesn't have to be high in a high position. Doesn't have to be a Rinpoche or a Geshe or a Tibetan for that reason. So he or she can be from any race, any culture, from any background. But when you are with that person, you started to grow spiritually. So when you are practicing with or under instructions from that person, whether you are practicing refuge or meditation or bodhicitta it starts to grow exponentially. These are the signs that that person is your guru. So in general, if you have not taken someone as your teacher, and if you have few candidates to take as your teacher and as your guru, and then out of let's say you have 4 candidates to be your guru, and out of the 4, let's say number 3 makes you feel all welled up, moving, and if you feel the connection, there is the connection. To make it simple, right? If you feel the connection, there is a connection. So a connection, you can actually feel it. Actually, even though you cannot pinpoint it and say this is the feeling, actually you can actually feel it in there. It's like as I said, your affinity towards your parents, your love towards your parents, your siblings, and so on and so forth. So you will actually feel it, and most importantly, that will actually change you. As I said, you are not in a good mood, but just because you realize, you see the image of your guru, you start to calm down, right? And you are feeling very demotivated. You are feeling very low, depressed, and then you start seeing your guru's image, and then it shakes something with inside of you, and then you started to feel better, or you started to feel bad, not about yourself, but about samsara, and then you want to escape samsara, right? So these are the signs that that person has a karmic spiritual connection with you.
Those are the only 2 questions, Rinpoche.
Oh, okay. So if you have new questions, please get them ready. Okay, I will start today's chapter now. Today's chapter is called Emulating the Teacher's Realizations and Actions. Previous week we went with the following the teacher. So following and emulation is kind of similar in general, right? So the difference here is that the previous chapter is all about the physical emulation, or physical following your teacher in the proper physical way. So, which is to let your teacher walk in front of you. I think these are somewhat outdated in today's time, to be honest. Back in those days, it's very common for the teacher to walk before you, and so on and so forth. So, and nowadays, you may or may not have to take everything literally. So the teacher and student, the relationship, the system, everything, it is a societal system. So it depends on the society. So if the society, if it's quite outdated, and especially does not fit into the society that we live in today, then we either have to dump them or have to conduct them in a very secretive manner. And some of them are very necessary for us to follow, and so we have to do it anyways, whether what the society says, that the societal norm of the day is. No matter what the societal norm of the day is, we have to follow it anyway. So for those, we have to practice them in a more inconspicuous way. Then there are certain traditions that are actually quite outdated, that we don't really need to follow those. This actually we can use common sense. Buddhism is not, Buddha's teaching, let's call it that way. Buddha's teaching is not rigid. Buddha's teaching is not outdated. Buddha's teaching is a very timeless teaching, timeless wisdom. So therefore, it always fits in with common sense. So if the common sense says this is not this is wrong, then you can pretty much take it from there. So okay, so now back to following the teacher and emulating the teacher. So following the teacher, the previous chapter is about following the teacher in a physical manner, like how to talk to a teacher, how to behave in front of your teacher, so on and so forth, like that. Then today's chapter, emulating the teacher, this is about emulating or copying or following not just the external mannerisms, but also the internal practices or internal workings of the teacher. So that is the realizations and the actions. So usually when we are in the monastery, we just see our teachers. So our teachers have their teachers, right? So we always see our teachers. We always see how our teachers behave to their teachers. So we just know from that. But here we have to outline everything because most of you are not in a monastic setting. So therefore, we need to outline everything. So for that reason, I will read some of the lines. From a conventional point of view, it feels a little bit awkward to read those things because it seems I feel like saying, okay, you should respect me, you should offer services to me and do things like that. But that's not the point. So when I say teacher, I'm not talking about myself. I'm saying a spiritual Dharma teacher in general. So that is how you should emulate the teacher's realizations. This is how you should follow the teachers in general. Okay. Okay. So I will just read the line. Like a swan swimming on a perfect lake, or a bee tasting the nectar of flowers, without ever complaining, but always receptive to him, always wait upon your teacher with exemplary conduct. Through such devotion, you will experience all his qualities. So this is definitely a summarization of what you should be doing. So in order to emulate the teacher. Here, previously we talked about how to follow a teacher. So that is to, follow means the teacher goes in front of you and then you are behind that. What I'm trying to say is that you are copying your teacher, right? There's a gap there. But when you try to when you emulate the teacher's practices, the realizations, of course you have to follow the teacher, the instructions. You have to follow the instructions, but not just the instructions in the sense of following the words alone, but you actually have to put it into practice. Just like a swan, a duck would just jump into the lake and then swim. Or a bee that just tastes the nectar, right? So this is very similar in today's, let's say, in today's if you are when you learn how to drive, or when you learn how to swim, or when you learn how to ride a motorcycle. If somebody tells you to do this and this and that, and you just read the book on how to ride a motorcycle or how to swim, you will not be able to swim. Same goes for singing a song or anything. You actually have to follow it through. Like you actually have to follow the same actions that were instructed by the teacher. So just like that, you have to swim into the lake. You have to taste the nectar. So you have to be very receptive towards the teaching, the instruction that were given to you, and you have to follow them properly, follow them accurately, in order to receive the reality. We cannot say receive the realization from the teacher. Even though if you read many of the devotional books, it says, I received the realization from the Lama. You are not really, technically, you're not receiving the realization from your guru. Your guru gives you the shows you the path to reach your own self-realization. So you gain realization through the instructions given by the teacher, given by the guru, right? So for that reason, you can say, I received the realization from my guru. But your guru cannot give you the realization that he or she has. So Buddha himself said that I cannot remove your pain with I cannot wash and remove your pain with my hands. All I can do is, and I cannot give you my own realizations. All I can do is to show you the path to gain your own self-realization. So the nirvana is also called, nirvana is the liberation from samsara. Nirvana is also called pratimoksha in Sanskrit, right? Which means self attainment. So nirvana is not something that can be given by anyone else. Nirvana has to be attained by on your own, through the instructions of the guru, of course, but you have to attain it on your own. And that's why it's called self-attainment. Pratimoksha. Prati has many different connotations. So prati can mean first, and oneself, self, like that. And the moksha means attainment. So pratimoksha is the term that is used in Buddhist text to refer to nirvana, pratimoksha, which means self-attainment. So that's the same thing with any realization. Every realization, it has to be self-attainment, right? So you can say, when you learn swimming from your swimming instructor, you can say, okay, my coach taught me how to swim, right? He or she will share all the steps, all the tricks and trades of how to swim. But the actual swimming, the ability to swim, the ability to cross the river, the ability to cross over the pool, comes from within, not from outside. So similarly, emulating the teacher's realizations and action also has to come from within, by practice, through practice. Okay, so we will conclude here. Do we have any questions though?
We don't have any questions for now, Rinpoche. No questions right now, Rinpoche.
Okay. Okay. No questions. All right. Okay. We'll conclude here.
Okay. Maybe I have a quick announcement. I think next
Okay.
week,
We'll conclude here for
Giang
please.
and I think there's lagging here. Can you hear me, Rinpoche? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So
Yeah, we can hear you.
I heard that Giang Hương next week she's not available to translate. So either we can just continue in English or we can take another week off.
I will do it as well. So, you hear me?
No, we can hear you.
I think. Yeah, I think he's teaching next week as well. So I we can't have next week's teaching. Yeah, I don't think.
Okay, so we will not have a teaching next week, and the week after that you'll be traveling, right? Then
Yeah.
we won't have
Yeah. I
teaching
think for the next
until
2-3 weeks. Yeah.
okay. So I will
For the next
announce
2-3
it.
weeks, there will be. Yeah. Yeah. So we will update. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Rinpoche.
叫我 please dedication. Yeah. 叫我的牛多。 Dere jin jine je jime ge enjoy I can be one boy John Bill dear boy mo Jomo Zia San Jian Ge